Many of the residents that live here now because she lived with us a long time. And we started doing these celebration of lives many years ago because we felt that it was really important for our residents who knew her better than anyone in the last few years of their life to be able to be a part of her celebration, and to get everybody to a church or a cemetery was just really impossible. So we started having these celebration of lives, and then we would sign balloons and release them outside. And Rose, that really always bothered Rose that we put balloons in the sky because she was such a horticulturist and a lover of all plants and animals, and she just was like, if you ever have this for me, don't you ever let balloons go. So we're not letting balloons go. What's very special about today, this is our first celebration of life since the pandemic hit. And we haven't been able to gather as friends and family. And for all of you as her family, we appreciate your patience with us and your love and your dedication, because we went through 2 years of isolation and became each other's best friends here. I say, you know, there's people in hospitals that are quitting their jobs because they're so frustrated. Well, we got closer in here. We got way closer. I became the beautician for a year, and I got that time to spend one-on-one with all of the residents that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. Rose, I'm going to tell you real quickly, and then I'm going to leave time for everyone in the end. Bruce is going to do his service, but Rose came to us because one of her dear friends, Margaret Bennett, lived here when we first opened up, really. And I remember getting the call to go visit a friend of Margaret's at the Elks. She had fallen and broken her hip out gardening. Wasn't she out gardening? Mm-hmm. And so I went to go visit her, and I walked in, and I was always a little nervous going into a room because I was coming from an assisted living, which meant they'd be moving in somewhere else other than their home. And so most times they were not happy to see me. And Rose grabbed my hand right away and said, "Mary Ann, I've heard so many wonderful things about you. I know how wonderful Plantation Place is, and it's time. I have to give up my home. I'm sad about it, but I know it's time, and I can't think of a better place to come than Plantation." And so when somebody comes to us like that, it's like, wow, you won my heart right away. She moved in here without her beloved dog Mac. She had to leave Mac with a neighbor, and she got stronger and started walking more, and so she got Mac back. And it didn't last long, because then she went outside into the backyard and took a fall, and Mac came and found us. And he was barking until somebody realized she was out in the back and had fallen. And I remember meeting her grandson and at the ER, and we got her home, and I don't know, Mac and I kind of bonded. And so she let me share him. And I was never a dog person, ever. I never really had a dog. But Mac and I just locked. And so, you know, Rose and Mac came to our house for Christmas Eve, and, you know, summers in our backyard by the pool, because it reminded her of her backyard, her pool, and she inspired me with flowers to make my yard even prettier, because she was tough to keep up with on her yard. So I just want to say to you, her family, thank you, because she taught us so much about being a strong woman, for one, being proud of what we do, being proud of the community that we have. She rarely complained about anything. She loved talking about her past. She was a proud Boise High Brave, and many of us are all Boise High Braves here, and very proud of that. And you know, her roots in Lowman not my favorite place, but my husband has a place up here and his brother, and they love Loman. You know, we spent a lot of years up there, off and on, and that was her favorite place to be. So anyway, I just want to tell you guys thank you, and we miss her. And she will always, always have a special place in our hearts and in our community here. So, Bruce?
Oh, good afternoon. Hard to follow a big start like that, but I want to just share something real quick that I didn't really have any way to put it in another format, so I'm going to just share it right at the beginning. It's a little lighthearted, but nothing wrong with that. It gives you a great idea of who she was.
Pick. 91 years old.
Off the lights in here.
This is 2014. "91 years old.
Wow. And in the foothills where it's dry and hilly.
There was a shovel. She worked that ground.
Yeah. Oh.
Watch what happens when she picks up that pick, though.
Oh, it's gonna be sad.
No, he's getting out of the way.
This, folks, is a picture of hope. Hope for you and hope beaver for me. You see my mother out here digging with a pick in the ground, 91 years old. Can you wave to the camera? Oh my gosh. Wave! That's so funny. I'll tell you what, we can't keep her from it either. Look at her, God bless you.
Very good bag.
We turned off the lights.
Now we can't see.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for celebrating Mother of Life with us today. Rose Lessinger Lund peacefully passed over on Saturday, February 26th, after a long and beautiful life. Rose was born April 3rd, 1923 in Boise to Edgar and Ruth Lessinger. And as her name suggests, she was a flower of extraordinary beauty, strength, and grace. In 1943, at the age of 20, she got her pilot's license, making a cross-country flight to seal the deal. In her youth, she was an accomplished swimmer and continued her love of swimming through teaching and eventually sitting on the board of the directors at the YMCA. She was the exercise lady on KTVB in the early 60s and later joined Xerox in its pioneering days until her retirement. She promoted the arts through community service and Ballet Idaho and other arts groups, but always her true love were her gardens, which were featured in 4 Boise Botanical Garden tours. And she was well known for her camellias. In the slideshow, you'll see some of the camellias, and there was a tradition with the camellias, because you can't leave them out all winter. We actually brought a few down here for a while when we moved her.
So I killed them.
As her prodigy, we were conscripted to this tradition of taking the camellias out in the spring and putting them back in the fall. And it was a biannual thing that was going on as long as I can remember. but the camellias were very dear to him and they were very beautiful. Rose is survived by her children Scott and his wife Janelle, Bruce Lund, Cecilia Davis and her husband Doug, Mike and Maria Martin, more or less an adopted son, and her grandchildren Lavina Richards, Raymond Kerr, Jason LaBaugh and Angela LaBaugh, Allison and Casey Lund. Rose was a cockeyed optimist with her entire life, as only a gardener could be. She was also a true matriarch of the family. She taught us all the love of gardening, acceptance of others, Japanese culture, bridge with friends, and love of dogs. Grandma Rose was nurtured. Grandma Rose nurtured us and gave greatly of herself. She lives on in who we are.
I only thought I was ready.
The psalm that you all, I hope, are familiar with, the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We often hear at these times, she, he, they are in a better place. Is she? Is she really in a better place? What happens when our bodies shut down, what we call death, be it an accident, disease, or in this case, just the culmination of a long life, lived out richly, wonderfully, and well. Our bodies return to the dust that they were made from, but what becomes of our soul, our spirit, the essence of ourselves? What has become of Rose Lund? To understand that, I want us to consider the two most major events in any life: your birth, that life, and that physical end of life, the death of the body itself. And so today, as we celebrate our mother, our friend, the wonderfulness of Rose Lund, I want us to consider what she believed, not just about death, but more importantly, about life. Over the last 21 years, the relationship I enjoyed with Rose was not just that of mother and son, but also a wonderful new relationship of brother and sister. That relationship, a relationship founded on belief and faith in Jesus Christ. This new relationship was born out of two events. One was hers, and one was mine. And they were very wonderfully alike. Let me tell you about hers. As I came to know a richness and fullness of life unknown to me for the first 46 years of my life, I was concerned that my dear mother would have that knowledge also. And I want to share with you now what she told to me. It was so many of you that know me very well know I had a huge and dramatic change in my life when I was 46 years old. I was definitely born again. I'm definitely a different person than I was then. But Mother had a faith in God that until we talked about it, I had not understood it. And she herself had what we call an epiphany. And I see it in my mind's eye because she's described it so well. And she was in her bedroom, in her huge, well-lit bedroom. Boyd knows. It's a beautiful room, and it's a huge room, but the sun just shone in there. And I have to believe that that day it was extra bright. She described to me that as she walked through the bedroom, that she knew the presence of God was there. She knew that He was real. He was not anything but who He said He was. And really, that's it. That's all it took. That was the birth of the faith that she died with. And it's just so inspiring to me. We were created and are fathered by a supernatural God. And she believed that very much. And you just can't imagine, well, it made a great difference in my life knowing that. She did pray with me to receive the Lord, but she had already received Him long before that. It wasn't her Catholic upbringing. I think the only thing she learned at Catholic school when she was there, that a ruler hurt really well. But this encounter with a supernatural God was it probably the most important event in her life. So, is she in a better place? I certainly believe so. But the point is, it's not what she believed about the hereafter. She believed that we all live forever, and we do all live forever. We're created in our mother's wombs, and God implants there in a soul, a person, the identity of ourselves. She was Rose Lund, and she grew up well and lived, like I said, a rich life and lived it out well. But she made a choice to spend eternity, to spend the rest of her life with Him. And I'm asking you, and I'm praying and hoping that you have made that decision in your own life. Because we do all live together, and we either dwell eternally with Him or not. And I want the best for you, just like she wanted the best for me and the rest of her children and her friends. So important. Before we finish up, and I'm going to read the 100th Psalm, which is quite short, but we had several conversations this last 6 months especially, but in the last couple of years, you know, she was in some pain and was struggling and wondered why she was here. Really. And I know maybe some of you have had those very thoughts. Why am I languishing here on this earth? I'll probably live to be 120 or so, because the Lord really still got a lot of work to do on me. But I guarantee you that I believe that He had some stuff that He wanted to work through with her before she left. To kind of pull a few more weeds, in fact.
Literally.
Out of her heart and her spirit, that she might be satisfied really with who she was when she arrived there, to see Him as He is. And so some of the craziest and most wonderful stuff you see on the internet, and this just came up either just before she died or just afterwards, but it's titled found this stuff and my mom saved for me. And this is one of the wonderful things that you might see on the internet. I'm going to share it with you here because, well, I'll explain again, but planting your spring garden. For the garden of your daily living, plant 3 rows of peas. Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of soul. Plant 4 rows of squash. Squash gossip, squash indifference, squash grumbling, and squash selfishness. Plant 4 rows of lettuce. Let us be faithful, let us be kind, let us be patient, let us really love one another. No garden is complete without turnips. Turn up for meetings, turn up for service, turn up to help one another. To conclude our garden, we must have time. Time for each other, time for family, and time for friends. Water freely with patience and cultivate with love. There is much fruit in your garden because you reap what you sow. Pass it on. There was a fella here last year. I was surprised when I didn't see him any longer, but he ended up leaving. Certainly not bashing my mother because, like I said, I got a long ways to grow as well. But she couldn't stand one of this fellow's habits. And instead of hating his habit, she was disliking him in an ugly way, really. And we talked about it a lot. And like I said, I have a long ways to go myself. But she grew. She was still growing these last 2 years. And we all have to look forward to that. We don't know when we're going to die, right? But we got to let go of things like indifference and grumbling and not being kind and faithful. We hate sin, finding it really hard to love some of the people in the world that are causing harm to others right now. But what we really hate is our actions, and we hope that they might be healed in their hearts, as Mother was even. Psalm 100 says, make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye saints. And that's what we're going to do next. We're going to sing Amazing Grace. I was called to be a minister here by my mother because she wanted to go to church. And like Mary Ann said, it's pretty hard. You know, as soon as we got her to church, she'd have to come home maybe or whatever, you know. Circumstances just don't work well. But through that call, we've been having church here since last June together. I know there was things going on before COVID, but I'm glad and blessed to be able to come and try to share the Lord with you and love on you folks as well. But just 2 or 3 weeks ago, we sang Amazing Grace here. She's sitting right there, and you should have seen her eyes light up. I said, we're going to sing Amazing Grace next, and gee whiz, I can't describe the way those eyes lit up. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name. For the Lord is good. His mercy endureth forever. His truth endureth to all generations. So I'll put the lyrics up here and we'll sing together Amazing Grace. I'll end with a prayer and cookies and chocolate.